Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Mortgage Coach Tuesday interview. I am super pumped. Got a full house of amazing leaders. My wingman and co-host of almost everything in the Mortgage Coach YouTube channel now. What's up, Mr. Win by Noon?
I'm super excited to be here. It is kind of funny, right? It's, I crept in as your substitute on Tuesdays, and here I am now every Tuesday, and just loving it. And, I think that the topic of the day is really one that, everyone needs. I feel like the last 2.5 years, everyone's been running so fast in this business. It's been so amazing. And then all of a sudden now we have these headwinds, and I think people are kind of doubting and second guessing themselves. So I'm excited for the topic of the day, and I'm certainly excited to have our other co-host has been joining us quite a lot, which is none other than Deborah Bird. How you doing, Deborah?
Good. That's kind of how I feel on our Monday webinars, Todd. I'm kind of like your substitute or backup a little bit. Hopefully can get there every Monday.
No,
It's
like
fun.
my true right hand, come on, you're there all the time. Like that just makes it so much better.
Yeah. I can't imagine doing that by yourself. So thank you for allowing me to be on these, and I really appreciate the opportunity to pour my gift and my thing that I've kind of learned along the way.
I love it. Well, I'm looking forward to learning more about that. Before I bring on our two special guests, as I was preparing for this call and who I have on this call and what the topic is, we build this as how to find your thing. And that is the what we're going to do. But I want to open it around the why. And it's been said, but the why is so that work isn't work. When you really have the ultimate passion in life, it's when what you do for a living that makes money is something that it's play, it's fun, it's something that you would do for free. And so that is the goal, guys. Our goal now, we want that to be the mortgage business. So I'm not trying to, the goal here isn't that, okay, I'm gonna become a painter, I'm gonna start doing pottery, I'm gonna become a professional photographer. If that is someone's outcome, cool. Like, I'm not going to apologize for that. Maybe to your manager, I apologize. But my goal is that however you do loans, whatever specialty you have, whatever niche you have, whatever how you play the game. I think of everything as a game. I love sports. I am extremely competitive. If anybody ever has played foosball, ping pong, any type of game, I like to win and I like to have fun. Having fun and trying to win is what matters. And, my vision for this next hour is just, we want to help you become more you in a way that makes your day-to-day game of mortgage funner. So that is the goal. We've got two great hosts playing the coach today. We've got Roland Cochran, and I've been a guest on your podcast. I think this is the first time you've been on the Mortgage Coach channel. Welcome, Roland.
Yeah, it is the first time. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, I'm pumped. I think of Roland. I've met him a few times in the real world. I'm looking forward to getting to know him better. But he's one of those guys that's killing it on social. One thing is he's disciplined, because when you look at the dude's body, you look at how he's doing life, and you're like, the only way he could be like that is if he has discipline, he has passion, and he executes at that. So, dude, I am looking forward to learning more about how you help loan officers elevate. And then, of course, we've got a top producing, badass mortgage professional who's killing it on social media. More importantly than all of that, though, he's a mortgage coach. He is a grandmaster. Him and his team have done over 1,000 PCAs. So to me, closing a lot of loans is great. Making America more financially literate and turning financial literacy into a competitive advantage, that's a bigger deal. And here's a guy who's doing that one-to-one with consumers, and then he's doing that one-to-many on social media. So Justin Brown, welcome to the community, brother.
Thanks. Always a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, well, you've been a guest on multiple calls. If you like what Justin does, go to our YouTube channel, put in his name in search, and I think there's probably a half a dozen interviews with Justin where you can really learn more about what he does and how he does it.
It's kind of cool at this point too, because you could probably see a progression of the years from when I first came on probably 5 years ago to now, of like what my focus was and what I was doing to move the needle.
Yeah, that is kind of funny. I'm gonna Google it when I'm not talking here, and we'll see early days of Justin, he was just typical dude, taking nothing away from him, but he wasn't who he is now. Like this guy that you're interested in. You're super curious about this guy, and who he is and how attractive he is on social media it's different. It's radically different. So I would recommend you go back and watch the first interview I ever did with him, and go watch the last interview, and you'll see a transformation of
Absolutely.
average loan officer who had a job to a mortgage coach that's doing his thing. So let's start with Roland. What, you came up with the headline, just put some meat on the bones. Describe what that means, finding your thing.
No, it sounds like it sounds really vague, but it's honestly not. When I had the luxury when I was 16 of knowing what I wanted to do, and it didn't end up being what I did forever, as most people, we bob in and out of careers. But my first career was physical therapy, and at 16, I went to the conferences, just like in mortgage. And I had 12 years until I was going to have my license at the earliest. And when I was there, I learned all the tactics, and obviously once I got out, implemented the tactics, and of course the money came, the profit came. But I couldn't help but notice the elite players in the industry. Every industry has these elite players, and they're having so much fun. Work is effortless. They know what they're good at. They know what other people want from them. And more importantly, they know who they are, and it's fun. So watching that after, the financial success came, I still didn't have what they had. It was just, they had their thing. And I wanted mine too. And so once I noticed that gap, that's exactly what it is. It's when you find your thing, it makes work. It's not effortless. It's not, it doesn't take effort anymore. It's really easy. It's easy to get out of bed. You're super motivated. Dave, you're a prime example of somebody who's found their thing. I bring your name up all the time because I know everyone within the space knows Dave, and they know, there's just no one cares about this industry and this profession like Dave does.
Well, I have fun doing what I do. And I hired Jonathan Roach as my coach at the beginning of the year. And he was having a conversation with me about being more present and being less ADD. And there's no doubt it's a balance between, being present, being ADD, but it got to a point in the conversation where I said, bro, I'm not going to agree to that. I go, because that would change the joy I have in how I play the game, my daily game that gives me energy. Now, if I wasn't, I am truly ADD, I am truly dyslexic, and I have a way that I work, and sometimes it's a mixed bag, but I throw that to everyone. You gotta create this game of mortgage in a way that you love it, and don't try to be someone else, so love what you said. So Justin, you have recently gone to one of Roland's events, and you're a guy, and like, I look at you and I'm like, you already found your thing. Why, one, how did you do that? And two, why are you continuing to invest in refining that?
It's been back to what we were talking about, you could see the transformation of, me interviewing with you 5 years ago, my focus is to now. And a lot of that was along that way. I was on a journey of trying to find, my thing and just figuring out my place in life and the industry or whatever. But we all grind and try to produce units, try to close loans, try to meet our needs financially, thinking that once maybe I hit a certain level, it's going to give me, this piece, or I finally made it type of deal. That never comes. Like, it's just, you just grind and it's work. And, so as I was hitting those levels of, 100 million production, whatever, that fulfillment still wasn't there. And if anything, it just made life a lot more stressful. It made me a lot less present. It wasn't what I wanted. So that's when I really started diving into just more self-development. What do I want? What makes me happy? What do I need to do? And when I was at, Roland's event, I was talking about how I feel like it's a never ending journey, and it's a never ending work in progress. Being there and just seeing the event he puts on, and that's really what it is about. And that's really, I've found my thing. I for now, it could change, but right now it makes me happy. Like, I enjoy waking up and creating, like, all the social media stuff and all of that. It's just, just content. It is what it is, but it's like, to me, it's still a puzzle. Like, when I was a kid, I used to get super hyper focused in video games, and I would get a game and I would get so into it and I would just play it and play it and play it till I finally beat it. And then I was over it and I'd move on. But I was having fun, and just, it's like a puzzle. And that's kind of how I feel like this whole social media thing has been for me, learning how to do marketing, learning how to put stuff together, how to deliver a message that people accept. There's so many people that have great messages and have great content, but it's just not delivered in the way that the digital age wants it, so that's why it doesn't get a million views or whatever. So just figuring that out has been so fun. And, I'm just thankfully I fell into that. But it's really just, it's a continual journey, and connecting with Roland has been just awesome, seeing somebody really push that for loan officers, because I've never seen it in our industry. It's usually just about production, call realtors, grow your business, and then you'll get what you want, basically. And I don't feel like that really does it. So it's nice to hear a different message and have, somebody put something together to help people find something a little bit more, behind it.
Yeah, well, I want people to see something. I'm going to share my screen, and then Deborah and Todd, I'm going to open it up for you guys to ask questions. But I want people to see this transformation, some breadcrumbs to this in the Mortgage Coach YouTube channel. So, I just looked at the first interview we did. It was called Turning Borrower Education into Your Competitive Advantage 4 years ago. And, that was that dude. Now, he had some values that created who he is today. He was a guy that turned borrower education to a competitive advantage a long time ago. And then you look at 3 years ago, it was how to get to buyers, or how to get buyers before realtors. So that's a strategy, where he started like, oh, the world's getting disrupted, and realtors, not that they're going to go away, but hey, how can I get the buyers before them? And then you can see, 4 months ago, how to use social media to make warm calls to realtors, how Justin is creating leads with social media 5 months ago, how he's using Mortgage Coach to get 35,000 followers on Instagram. So I just want you guys to see there's been this evolution, but it all started from this seed. I'm an educator. I'm a teacher. I'm not going to say he's not a salesman, because he is a very good salesman, but the way he sells is through education. By the way, in case anyone's wondering, Justin and his team have created 4,498 total cost analysis in the last 30 days. 31 of those have been unautomated, to where they're just creating them manually. I'm sure that's his team. And then 39 of them have been automated, which I'm guessing that's probably HomeBot.
Yeah, I got HomeBot and Jungo situated in there some way.
Okay, so HomeBot and Jungo. So again, he's also a guy that's using technology, media, and leadership to take market share from loan officers that don't. Something else I want to call out, I do believe you've been through Amplify.
Yeah, I have.
So guys, that's the other thing. You got to invest in yourself.
Yeah.
You noticed he invested himself. Roland, I do believe you've been through Amplify as well.
Yes, 1 Amplify, 2 AmpCons, and then I am booking another one when I'm back in the US in the fall. So yes, I have no plans on stopping. You're absolutely right, Dave. Getting your uniqueness out. That's the game. The tactics and strategies are a way to supplement you getting it out, right? They're not a replacement.
Yeah, so it's all about influence, leadership, and then let's dedicate the rest of this as how to find it. So Todd, anything you want to call out, or any questions you want to ask before we keep drilling down on this?
Well, I mean, I love both Roland and Justin's journey, right? Talking about, video games, then to mortgage, and then to social media, right? Roland from being a doctor of physical therapy to, being the guy who's here, coaching, leaders in our industry. And so as someone identifies Roland that, hey, maybe they're not in their jam, I mean, let's talk about, what do you think the first steps are to figure out what it is?
Oh man, it's so hard to see on your own. I think all of us can agree with that. When you only know what it's like to be you've never been someone else. And so the most common thing, I think Justin will agree with this, the most common thing that we saw this weekend was, a bunch of other people coming up who, they sit down and they're like, oh, I'm just this and just that. And, maybe I don't have a thing. And it's just like, everyone is blown away because all we see is just somebody who has, a crazy amount of influence, huge passion for this particular population, people we could never serve. So, we see this unique brand identity being born, and they can't even see it. And it's crazy. We have to sit there and it doesn't even happen. You think to be able to write it on the board, they would get through their head, but it takes 20 minutes of everyone saying, no, why can't you see this unique ability? So it's for everybody who's struggling with it, that's totally normal. It's hard to see on your own.
So you need to get perspectives from other people to even start the process. Deborah, anything you want to call out or any questions you want to ask?
Well, I had an amazing opportunity and a little side chat with Roland in Vegas at AmpCon, and I told him I didn't quite understand at first how what Roland does in his events maybe was different than an Amplify. And then I told him, I was like, I got to be honest with you, dude, you're like a supermodel who looks 12. Like, how have you accomplished what you have? And, I just didn't know exactly what he did. And I even brought a client who was asking kind of the same thing, like, who should I hire for coaching, or should I do, this with Roland, or what would I get from an Amplify, and how are they different? And I just saw him in his space, and with just the purest motive and heart, and his ability to really listen and ask the right questions and follow-up questions, which I think that was the most powerful moment I witnessed of Roland, is his ability to ask the right questions to get people to stop and think. Because when you get people to stop and think, it's like their brain just opens and they're more receptive. Plus, he has a unique way to make you feel safe. Maybe it's all those posts with his shirts off. I don't know. But my question to you, Justin, is when you're there and you've gone through an Amplify, and I love that I think all great leaders and people who want to be great are hungry and thirsty for improvement. So they're constantly looking for ways to keep developing. And so I love that you did this recently, but what would you say was the biggest difference or takeaway for someone else who may be wondering, what would I get from this event versus, one with maybe sharing how to tell your story?
The biggest takeaway, or what I see the value in, and what maybe not valuable for some people, is, look, if you are very clear on your direction, you feel like you have good balance and, a good space, then it might not be for you. But if you are, feeling like you're on a hamster wheel, or you are feeling like burned out, or I'm getting over this business, or I just, if you want some change and you're not where you want to be, in a mental space, not production wise, like, my units, because that comes with it. Like, when you're confident in who you are, where you are, and you're really confident in what you want to do, and you're going for it, the production comes. I was talking to Roland when I was there about how, when I started this social media journey, and I kind of just stopped, what I used to do to generate business, I kind of let things go and let my team run it all. I'm not involved anymore, and I'm just focusing on this. I was like, I don't care if my production goes down. Oh, well, I'm going to have fun. I'm going to do things the way I want. And if my production tanks, I know what to do. I can roll up my sleeves and jump back in and pound the phones and do the grind if I need to do the grind to pay my bills. But at the end of the day, I don't care right now. I'm just going to have fun and do what I want to do. And that was like, it's hard. I can't imagine people being able to just do that, but it took me, it was a journey I went on to get to that space of really just chasing my happiness. And the program like Roland's, I think if somebody wants to go on that journey to find that where they're at and what they're passionate about, because once you have that, everything else comes with it. I think that's exactly what's valuable about what Roland's putting together.
So I want to do, for the next 15 minutes, I want to create a self-serve checklist that anyone who's listening to this call can find their thing, because one, everybody's not going to be able to go to your, offsite facilitated, ultimate find your thing place. I mean, one, it's an expensive venue. You're investing in doing it. So, I mean, and we'll tell everybody at the end, how to get that. But a lot of people are just like, hey, I want to find my thing like next week. And I know that may be unrealistic to say you're going to find your thing next week, but I do want to give 3 to 5 strategies. And you already said one, which is get the perspectives of others. If you could be a little more descriptive, like what if I tomorrow wanted to fine tune and upgrade my thing, what would I do? Would I reach out to 3 people, 5 people? And what question would I ask them? And then between you and Justin, I want to go back and forth until we have 5 action items, 5 strategies to do it. So could you put a little more description around the first one, Roland, and then give us a number 2?
Yeah, absolutely. It's to me, you mentioned the first one already, right? The mastermind effect, right? Is Napoleon Hill talks about it in his Think and Grow Rich book. Stealing fire from other people who have a big blazing fire. It doesn't do anything to their fire. You just get to have some. And so that's the cool thing about the mastermind effect. And so to answer your question, what's that look like? I mean, I've met all of you in person at multiple events. I mean, that's where I would say is get your butt on an airplane and just start finding these people. They're extremely friendly, guys. When I was 16, I walked up at that first conference. It was in Seattle, Washington. I walked up to the elite players and I said, the guy's name was Rob. I said, Rob, I want to be like you guys. And it sounds ridiculous, but they took me in, showed me everything. And I think all of us on this call can agree, if someone comes up to us and wants help, I haven't seen anybody say no, not at the elite level. I mean, they're so excited to share, and the opportunity, at that elite level, you see how effortless it is to get there. It's just finding your thing. It really is. It's just that little thing. It has nothing to do with the money and the tactics. We're all doing the tactics. They're all on YouTube. It's that little thing where you step into, your passion. It's what makes you fearless. And so the people at that level, they want to help you. So that would be my advice. Get your butt on an airplane, fly around. For those that don't have that, pick up the phone, find 5 people in 5 different areas. Find somebody who you've recently met, find somebody you've done business with who would give you the honest feedback. Call a family member, and then call a close friend and ask them. I would just ask the simple question: what is my thing? And when they keep saying, well, what do you mean by that? Don't give them anything else. Just say, I don't know. You tell me what my thing is, and just see what comes out of the mouth. So to me, for those who are able to fly and go somewhere and be around these people, do that. If not, pick up the phone, send somebody just a voice text and just ask them and go back and forth a couple of times and get 5 different perspectives.
Yeah. And so hopefully the takeaway for folks is just have intentional conversations where that is the goal.
Yep.
Renee Rodriguez has been a mentor and a coach to me for a long time. And now I've been through Amplify. I haven't been through your program yet, Roland, but he helped me really get clear. I've dedicated my life as an innovator, and I have always used technology as a competitive advantage. And I never, until going through an intentional process with them, I didn't know why. Wasn't so clear on like, that is my jam, like innovation, creating wow for people, creating tools and solutions and processes that help other people create wow. That's my thing. But if you just go with the goal that you're going to find that out, have a few conversations where that is your goal to find that out. Justin, and I'm going to come back to you. Remember, guys, we want 5. We got 1. Justin, what are some things you've done, some strategies, some tactics? And remember, self-serve. I don't want everything to be like you have to get on a plane, you have to spend money. I want some of these things people can do this weekend. Justin, what are some ideas and strategies to find your thing?
Well, probably about 3 years ago, I did exactly what Roland was talking about. I sent out an email to probably 15 people, even my wife, like everybody, just like, hey, you've known me for a long time. What positives and negatives do you know about me? What am I good at? What skills do I have? What things do you see me focus on that I shouldn't focus on? It was this whole questionnaire I could probably find. And that just started giving me some feedback with things. And then, just a continual journey of just studying and learning. Like every morning, I'm listening to Audible books on different topics, self-development stuff, but even non-self-development, like real estate investing and just things I'm interested in. I'm just chasing down things that I just want to know more about. So I think, hobbies you have, things that you're interested in getting better at, take the action and do it. You could go on YouTube and watch some videos on any topic you want, so I think a lot of people are like, I want to do that one day, or I want to learn more about that one day, but it just gets brushed off. it's just one of those like pins in the board that they never spend any time doing. So I think when you actually spend some time, developing yourself without, you don't have to spend money to do it. You can go on YouTube, you can get some books, but actually making that commitment and following through on it, I think that's part of the journey as well. It's just consuming content. I don't know what's wrong with my camera thing right now, but
Hey, just keep working on it. So I'm going to throw one in for everyone. If you go to Google and you type in Mortgage Coach Why worksheet, the idea that was just shared, first of all, it's a great idea, from the outside in, get perspectives from other people to find it. But I would throw everybody, if you have not done this, one, document your mortgage why, like, why are you a loan officer? And if it's to close loans and, get people good rates, you might work on that. This why worksheet has some examples of what other loan officers work is. And then I always say, like when it comes to being a mortgage coach, what's your mortgage coach why? Like, why are you going to deliver more than a fee worksheet for folks? So one idea, one strategy, and by the way, I'm going to recommend whatever we come up with, you do them all, is to get feedback from others. One is from the inside out, put pen to paper on your mortgage why, and you're in the mortgage coach community, what's your mortgage coach why? Roland, before we come back to you, Todd, anything you want to call out or ask a question of anyone?
You're on mute.
I was totally all in on the whole Mortgage Coach Why worksheet. So you just stole a little bit of my thunder, but I would take it a step further, right? Then you've got to actually schedule some time to actually then take action on it, right? Like really think about your vision, like where you're really trying to go. Like if that's, if you get feedback from your friends and they say, hey, you're the world's greatest mortgage coach because you really teach financial literacy, right? You look at what Dan Keller's doing and you want to be more like Dan Keller, then awesome. Then do your Mortgage Coach Why worksheet and then really schedule some time to really like plot out what does that look like, right? What's the end result? What do you think it is that you want to aspire to be? And then what are the action steps that I need to get there? But the first thing is really the vision, right? You have to really think bigger about where it is you're trying to go. And I think that you have to, though, get that clarity that we're talking about. So that would be certainly one of the pieces that I would throw in there. I'm not sure what your feedback would be on that.
Well, I like the schedule a jam session, guys. Deborah, anything you want to call out or questions you want to ask?
Yeah, I want to highlight kind of what we're talking about right now with Denise's post that she made early this morning. And if you guys aren't following the Mortgage Nerd, please follow her and like this post. Because let me tell y'all, this right here, and it was something that was always easier for me. I know she jokes and says I'm the emotional twin and she's the logic one. But for her to share this post today shows so much of her growth and deep inner work that she had to do, where I don't know if she always knew like down in the core why she did what she did, because for us it was painful. It's these memories that we've tried to stuff away and we want to pretend never existed, and they're memories that you just try to block off and you stay busy. And we knew if we were high achievers, then that's how my dad showed love. So we just are all natural high achievers. And I don't think we ever really knew, nor did we want to go to that point, because it can be painful. You're re-exposing maybe some wounds that happens to be the pulling force that ignites you of why she's so passionate of showing up on social media and sharing her message. But this was a very vulnerable caption that she actually mentioned a little bit of our upbringing and just her big why, and kind of reintroducing herself, since she's had such a great marketing team doing her marketing for her and she has so many new followers. But please show this some love and take some time. I think, Dave, you also shared it in the Mortgage Coach group, but I just want y'all to know, even the Mortgage Nerd, this process didn't start, and she's done a lot of coaching from a lot of different types of coaches. When she went to Amplify, in fact, she did it with Dave, and she was like, I think I almost shit myself, because it was like Dave, Dan Keller, Josh Metal, all these top producers, Jeremy Forcier. But I think it does require, like Roland said, getting out of your space, your natural habitat where you're distracted. You come to a different setting, you remove filters, you hear other people sharing stories, so you start to feel connected. And so she just really blossomed and has been blossoming. And let me tell you, sometimes it takes somebody else outside of your circle, because I had been pressing on her for years to be a little more emotional so people would connect. Because I used to have people message me all the time, like, dude, is your sister married? Like, does she have a husband or not? Like, we don't see anything personal from her. So they were curious. And once she started to get more comfortable in her own skin and got really clear of where the why stemmed from and got passionate about sharing it, like she now even has the story on her website, thanks to Amplify. Um, it's just been now even more of a magnet, which ironically gives other people permission to be imperfect and now have buyer consultations and be like, yeah, I had the same thing happen in my childhood and I'm scared to buy right now. Like I'm scared to, am I going to overpay? And what if I can't afford the home? And we end up, so take time and use this as leadership and know it's always a journey. It's a work in progress. And it does take sometimes other people pulling these things out of you so you can be your best.
So as I put this in our Facebook group this morning. So check this out. And I would say like, this is should be an inspiration for everyone to come up with this, and her post was, my passion is helping people think strategically about financing during a mortgage. We review things like credit, assets, taxes, disposable income, and yes, we want to help you get pre-qualified. So she, kind of, that does not sound like the typical loan officer. And I'm going to skip the paragraph. You guys can read this. But she said, you see, my dad didn't have people or professionals in his life. And we lost our home at an early age, more than a house. My dad lost his confidence and self-worth. I mean, guys, that's intense, and so now again, to Deborah's point, she did a lot of self-work to get here. She's told this story in long form ways. She's told this story in short form ways, but now she's able to really get to the core of her why. And she's able to share a really inspiring message. My mission is to provide a mortgage experience that is not only top notch, but most importantly, to provide financial strategies for you and your family to live your best life. Powered by Mortgage Coach, of course. So that would be a homework assignment to you guys. Get outside feedback, document your why, and then guys, document your value proposition. And remember, it's not going to happen just once. Like, you're not going to just like do that this weekend, but document your value proposition, put it in the Mortgage Coach channel, and you'll get some feedback from myself, Roland, anybody who wants to comment on it. So Roland, let's come back to you. First of all, any comments about what you've heard from everybody so far? And then we're ready for another strategy.
So I'll frame it nicely here. And Justin already heard this frame this past weekend, but exactly what we all just talked about with Denise. There's a cool, really exciting opportunity I see going forward. So if we kind of just rewind a little bit and we look at what the country was doing from like 1900 to 1950, industrial revolution, right? The problem was we didn't have enough of the basic things we needed. Okay. So then those things were met. Okay. From 1950 to basically, the early 2000s, it was a new problem. It was the connection economy. We had warehouses full of things. There was just no people there. So the connection economy was born as advertising, TV, as to connect a customer to a problem. Then we look at the year 2000 through basically 2015. And that was a steam economy. Okay. So in that window, the problem was a steam, and somebody named Mark Zuckerberg found a way to solve this problem for all of us and give us a platform for us to share ourselves, share our stories so that other people could see it, like it, engage with it. And so we were having our steam needs met. But guys, there is a huge opportunity for everyone right now. The new economy we were starting to go this way in 2015, and after the pandemic, we foot just went right on the gas. We were right into this new economy. I call it the purpose economy. And the purpose economy is this one, and how economies are born is when there's a global void, a global need where people feel like something is being unmet. And we've been going through these economies, and now we're entering this new void, which is a sense of self, a sense of purpose. right? We used to make fun of millennials for wanting work-life integration. Now you look at it, you're 70, 60-year-olds, 50-year-olds, everyone wants to have work-life integration and this cool, fun career where it doesn't feel like work, right? We're changing as a society. And so I say all that to say that what we're talking about here in this purpose economy, all you have to do is share yours. It's that simple. You can be a loan officer who likes making pottery, as Dave was saying. That is totally cool. Talk about it, because when we see you engaging in something that you love, telling your story, somebody who's in purpose, it's attractive. It's just so attractive. It doesn't matter if it's pottery. I mean, I think about it. If you have the choice between who you're going to get a mortgage from, you're going to get it from the guy who doesn't post, who hides and maybe shows up to a Chamber of Commerce event once in a while. Or you're going to get it from the gal who loves her pottery and she also talks about mortgage stuff, right? So we want the new economy. People are attracted to those who have found their purpose. It's attractive. I mean, that's why everyone loves Dave. I mean, it's just so stinking attractive when someone knows who they are and what they're about. So I would say, I guess the tactic there, Dave, would be self-mastery. And you don't have to go to these courses if you don't have the time or the money. Grab the 4 Agreements. One of my favorite books is
all-time favorite book, everybody.
Oh, it's fantastic. Another 2 that I love to kind of get you thinking this way would be 4,000 Weeks. It's a very new book, but it's in my opinion, it broke into my top 5. And I read a lot, and I read a lot of good books. So that's like a massive compliment for me to say that. And then a kind of an undercover book would be The Icarus Deception from Seth Godin. Seth Godin's a marketing guy, but he talks about in that book, The Icarus Deception, he talks about what I believe is happening right now. So guys, 20 right now in the purpose economy, this is like Facebook in 2007. This is like Bitcoin in 2009. This is a massive opportunity. So if you can find your thing and broadcast it and you get early in on this new economy, you're going to be chosen. And it's really not that difficult. Like I said, if it's pottery, it's cool. I mean, it's not going to take away from what your awesome mortgage business is doing.
All right, guys. So here's the checklist so far. Get clear on your mortgage why, get clear on your mortgage coach why, and then Roland just raised the ante, integrate your purpose beyond mortgage. And Denise found out, that one of her purposes was to break the chain, like to build financial security for her family because she didn't have it. And, she got clear on that. Now she's integrating that, that's how the mortgage nerd was born, and she's integrated, but it doesn't have to be that. It could be pottery. It could be art. Sean Herrera, who, his success story is amazing. I interviewed him a week ago, and I remember, when he hit 100 million in a year, and now he's, on his way to 300 million, did over 200 million. And, one of the things that he gives gifts are his photography, and if you follow this guy on social media, he's a spear fisherman, he's a badass mountain climber. I think he tags the adventure lender. So find out, so raise the purpose, document that, and then, like I say, create some social media content around it. Justin, back to you. Any comments on what you've heard so far? Or we're not to 5 strategies yet, so I would love 5 self-serve strategies.
That's helped me in that I think a lot of people get stuck in too, is as you're trying to find like who are you.
Hey, Justin, by the way, your mic is not varsity level right now. So I know you can fix that quickly. And I know you're not a JV player. So.
Oh, here we go.
Pressure.
Oh, that's why. Can you guys hear me at all?
Yeah, it's still kind of a JV level mic experience.
Yeah, so my mic disconnected from the USB. It's not recognizing it. So that's like a restart, whole other issue.
Okay, well, we're not going to restart. Yeah. We know that you know the mic game, but go ahead. We can hear you.
So one of the things that kind of was coming to mind and what I've seen is as people are trying to find their why and find their purpose is they feel like it has to be tied around mortgage, and it doesn't. Once you find that, it's easier to tie it in after you kind of really know what you're passionate about and who you are. But don't think it has to revolve around, well, how do I wouldn't start there. I would do that after you kind of go down that journey of really, seeing what makes you happy. And if it ties in, great. And if it doesn't, then, that's a whole nother issue. But, and then outlets outside, of the business. I snowboard, mountain bike. I go crazy if I don't have my outlets, but those outlets are what help me be creative. When I'm doing those things is when I actually have a lot of thoughts and things that I want to accomplish and do start coming to me because I'm disconnected. I'm in a happy spot. I'm focusing on it. So I think it's super important for everybody in this business, especially with how stressful it could be. You have to have an outlet. You have to have something that makes you happy, whether it's pottery or whatever it is. I think that's a super important piece.
Can I just
Cool.
say what I love what Justin just shared there is and I've never told Justin this, but I love that beyond just being a great content creator and contributor to social, he's a great dad, a great husband. Like he has 4 kids. For someone else who's another top reproducer, I see his life and how much they travel and what they do with the kids, and they're young too. And it's like I envy that in a way because I'm still working on creating that balance and being more present as well and wanting to take the kids. It used to be we didn't want to go anywhere because they were at that age where it just seemed like too much work with all of them being so little. But he's doing it with 4 kids as a husband and a father and a top producer and a content creator. And so I love that you share that side of the journey, Justin, because it's very inspiring to others who may have multiple kids, that you still have permission to have a life yourself and to do crazy things like all your bike riding. And I love it. It's awesome.
Yeah, thanks. No, and that's another thing I was mentioning this weekend, and what I've mentioned before is it's a daily grind. So spending time with the family, there's times I'm coming in, I just want to relax on the couch and watch TV, but I don't. So it's still work, but the fulfillment I get after, just like anything, going to the gym, it sucks, but when you're done, you feel you've never regretted going after. You regret going when you get there, but not after, right? Same thing with the time and effort with the family, with the hobbies. Like telling yourself you don't have time and letting yourself just push things off with the whole balance thing, it makes it worse. It's just as much work doing it, but you feel so much better after.
Yeah, and Justin, thank you for getting close to the mic. You get it. Didn't sound like the pro mic you have, but we could hear every word, and we got it great. And that was a great ad. And so, guys, I want to still try to get to a 5th strategy, and then remember, audience, we'll answer your questions. Like if you're on Zoom, put them in chat. If you're watching on Facebook, Todd and I are monitoring that. We'll check it out. And if you're watching this recorded on our YouTube channel, I promise you your questions will get answered either in chat or we'll get out to you. I mean, this is a resource. The Mortgage Coach YouTube channel and Facebook group is a resource. If you are a loan officer and you want your advice to make a difference, and if you want to improve the financial literacy of America and turn that into a competitive advantage, like we're here to help you do that. So put your questions and ask them. So Roland, back to you. Any other strategies you want to unpack?
Oh yeah, I got one right now it's a game changer. So whether you journal or not journal, doesn't matter. Just do this one journal entry and do it first thing in the morning. The prompt is, what is the change I seek to make? Guys, I do this every month, sometimes twice a month. Just ask yourself in the morning, get up before everybody, set your alarm just a hair earlier, and just ask, what is the change I seek to make? And it's crazy the answers you'll see, because and as you're journaling, if you kind of find yourself drifting, just look back up at the top at the question and kind of refocus. But man, it's incredible the stuff that comes out of you. I mean, stuff that you didn't even know was in you, but there's things that you're passionate about changing, that you're uniquely qualified to change. What Deborah said about Justin, I mean, coaching Justin, this guy, you guys think he's a beast. You have no idea. He's so quiet. There's so many other awesome stuff he does that no one knows about. I mean, I would say we see 30% of the awesomeness that he is. I mean, he has got so much in there. So just doing those journal entries in the morning will help you kind of tap into those just incredible things that you have and those things that you care about.
I love that journal entry idea, because I also find myself when I'm operating at the highest level personally, I'm journaling. And then I'll find, like I actually this morning realized that I haven't journaled in a week. And I have been a little scattered. I mean, I've done some good things, but I've also not been as on purpose. So journaling is a big one. Does anyone else have an intention or something you're doing journaling that you would recommend in the context of this? And Justin, you just pulled out something.
Let me give you.
Yeah, I
guys
got mine right here, my Panda planner, but it has like, what, it has some intentional things in there about, what I'm excited about, what I'm grateful for, affirmations, it's a couple different avenues you go with it. But at the end of the day, it's journaling, why am I here today? What do I want to get accomplished today? And it's not like responding to emails, and none of that's in there. It's just more, grand scheme of things. What can I do today to move the needle in my life?
I got one for you, Dave. Who am I without the striving? That was one my coach gave me a month ago. He caught me just reaching a little bit too much and getting a little chasey instead of stretchy. And he said, "Hey, send this to me." He said, "Who are you without the striving?" And you know what? It's so crazy. It's what you'll see with that prompt, just like the other one. You're way different without the striving. I promise.
Well, a book I'd recommend is The Road Less Stupid by Keith Cunningham. He's actually the original Rich Dad and Rich Dad Poor Dad. And he in the Road Less Stupid, he really talks about how he's created thinking time, and he's got a thinking chair and a thinking pen and a thinking journal. And he, at the end of every chapter, he's got prompts just like that. And it's just a great way for you not have to come up with your own. There's probably at least 70 of them in that book. And it's just a great way because he talks about that whole idea of framing, that you actually need to schedule time to think, right? Not just, Dave, you and we've talked for years about jam sessions and about really spending time working on your business. And his is totally different. He said, hey, you just need time to actually sit there and think. And then when you hear him tell the story of how he came up with it, it's just a super cool story. I won't spoil it for y'all by telling it here, but ultimately it was a kind of a game changer for me to really spend more time thinking, intentionally. Like Justin talked about gratitude, right? When I created Win by Noon, I surveyed all my friends who were top producers and said, well, what are you doing every day? And, gratitude was one of them. That's why we built it in Win by Noon. And, what are my top 3 things I've got to do today or every day? That's in there because those are all the things that everyone said, hey, I can give up my other planner for Win by Noon, but you've got to include these other things so that we can actually be intentional around our thinking, be intentional around our gratitude, be intentional around what we're going to be doing today to make sure that we actually accomplish those most important activities.
Love that. And guys, for this number 5, I don't know what we'll call it, because I think journaling is a part of it. I think reading is a part of it. I love the fact that you brought up the 4 agreements, because if you are not living a 4 agreement life, you're not taking things personally. You're not making assumptions. You're not using your words against you. Or I think in the 4 agreements, it's use your words impeccable. And if you're not doing your best, guys, those were the 4 agreements. If you're not doing that, it's hard to even be in the space to be your most authentic self. Another read that I can't recommend enough is The Daily Stoic. I've got the leather version. I love this thing. It is, I travel with this, even though it's big and, it takes up a lot of space in my backpack. It's so important because it's just, every day, one little lesson that makes you think more intentional. You could get a $20 version or you could get the $100 version. I recommend the $100 version because it's so substantial, The Daily Stoic. So guys, we're in the last 10 minutes. I want to close this thing strong, but before we close it strong, I also want to make sure people are aware of a facilitated way to find their thing. So Roland, would you mind just describing, this program that you have and telling us how anyone who wants to, hire you and go through facilitated find your thing experience, what's that look like and where do they go?
Yeah, go to rolandcochran.com/live-in-design is the landing page. Will give you the information of what's in there, what it's about, how we do it. But to explain it to everyone here, the best way to describe it, Dave, is a container for change. I mean, it's I struggle with, we call it coaching because we coach, part of the program is there is coaching. And then, do we call it a mastermind? Well, I'm hesitant there because everyone calls everything a mastermind. So what I call it is a container for change. It's basically, when I built this thing, it was like So people don't have to spend I sold my businesses to create room to do this because I was just so tired of not having my thing. And I spent, I think a hair over $250,000 on coaching and products to try to help me. So it was like, okay, what did I learn when I found it? How can I create a condensed version of this that it happens in a year? Not 3, 4, 5, 10 years. So it's a container for change is what I would call it. And the change is discovering your thing. Because when you discover your thing, like Justin was saying, it's not like you stop working. Half the time you work more. I mean, look at Dave. I mean, Dave is, Dave's everywhere doing all this stuff. That's the thing when you discover it. I'm not saying you stop working. I'm just saying it becomes something you love. I mean, when I get up at 4:30 in the morning and I cannot wait to get to creating and discovering and reading and inventing things that are going to help people. So it's a container for change, and it that swagger that you see at the elite level, that's what you get when you find your thing.
Yeah, well, work can become play, guys. And some people are, lucky enough to do it, but I also believe that it doesn't have to be luck. It could be intention. So I love what you're doing. Justin, what was if there was a highlight to the experience you went through, or there was something that you thought, stood out the most, what would that be, Justin?
Well, I went into it not really going there to seek that, because I kind of feel like I'm in a different space, and I coach with Roland on like kind of a different level of things that we work on. And I really didn't even know what to expect. I didn't know what it was about. I just
forced them to come.
Yeah, I didn't really know about InDesign or anything. We coach on like marketing stuff and funnels and things like that, which is fun. That's what I love to do. But just again, the fact that something's finally being brought to fruition around helping loan officers on a deeper level is just pretty amazing. And that's what it does. And that's what it's there for. So yeah, it was just awesome to see. It was an awesome reminder. It actually gave me some tools that maybe, hey, I'm doing all this self-development for myself and on this journey, but how am I helping my wife in this level? There's always things to learn and always things to get better at. And it was really cool. Just some clarity I found around some of the family stuff while I was there. But
Awesome. That's always a beautiful thing. So guys, we're in the last 8 minutes. So if you do have a question or a comment, put it in social media soon, or we're going to run out of time. Deborah, any other questions you want to make sure come out of this conversation, or anything that you think is the biggest takeaway that you want to make sure anyone watching this pulls out of today's call?
Well, for me, I do discovery calls all day, every day for people who are trying to pinpoint what is their personal brand and getting over their fears of showing up on social, which is all of that, needing approval or validation from others that they get in their own way of not posting and not creating, because again, they'll ask questions like, well, what do you do when people put a negative comment on your post? And so I basically just get straight to the point. I'm like, I hope at some point, and this does take personal development. So I love having coaches like Roland who can help my clients get to that self-discovery and build that confidence where they now can show up on social and value their own opinion more than anybody else's, because they know by sharing what they know. And I love, like, I've sent Dave and Todd screenshots of Justin's Facebook group. Like, there was something he posted the other day that was like genius tips of how you can borrow equity from your home. And I'm asking Justin creative ways of, not having to legally pay taxes. How do I leverage real estate in doing that? Because I see what Justin creates, and I'm like, that's the go-to person that I would get advice from of how I can maybe build out a rental portfolio. But I just want to say, for those struggling with social media, or even personal branding, it's typically more of a you issue. Like, you're not maybe super clear of why you're even creating or documenting for social. What is the true motive? And the more clear you can get on that, makes social media a lot easier, because again, it's not the outcome. You're not going with a selfish motive of always trying to sell or get leads. And so that's what we do. We love helping and creating content that's going to connect families who need the help to the loan advisors that actually care to give good advice and help families. It's not the transactional loan officer. So if you're not creating content and you're not clear on your why or your thing, then get the help and know that helps in every other area of your life. It makes it very clear of what you say yes to and what you say no to. In fact, I've had coaching calls with Dave where, I'm asked certain questions and he's given me advice where I know because of our values and what our mission is at just plug and play, makes it very easy to turn certain things down, no matter the price tag. I mean, I had a CEO yesterday trying to hire me to be his CMO with a great paycheck. And I'm like, you know what? No, it's not at the core values. But again, it was my learning process to this was ugly, guys, ugly. I mean, it was not as clean as Denise's, and that's okay. I was trying to be multiple different things. And I even shared this with Roland as being an identical twin. Society sometimes always wants you to be alike. So I was fearful of ever being different because everyone wants to put you in the same category. And I was kind of an extension of her brand, but I was very different. And so I struggled with that and I kind of caged myself. And this bird doesn't like to be caged at all. I like to be a statement in all things. And so it was a bumpy ride. So if you're on that same roller coaster right now, hopefully I can be some hope and some light for you that, go look at my past mistakes or my social feed where that shit wasn't pretty, guys. It still isn't always pretty. It's still a process. But I have great people that I work with like Dave and Todd and Roland. I mean, doing these calls, I love getting up every Tuesday and Friday. I'm like, who are we interviewing? Like, I was so pumped for today because I love what Roland stands for and his purpose and what he's doing for the community, and Justin. So thank y'all for sharing your gift.
Yeah, well, hey guys, make sure you follow Deborah Bird on social media, and she's got the top media platform for local referral-based professionals that want to bring financial literacy to the world, and they want to turn it into a competitive advantage. So check her out, guys. So we are in the final wrap-up. Mr. Todd Bookspan, any closing thoughts or anything you want to say to make sure we wrap this up the Win by Noon way?
Well, I mean, I just love the whole idea that Roland is all about helping people find their thing. And as I said earlier, it's been a crazy run, right? I think a lot of people right now are feeling this shift of momentum and questioning, is this their thing? And I feel like you've got an opportunity to push pause and to spend the time doing the 5 things that we just discussed to figure out how to regain your thing, or maybe take a left or right. You heard Justin say, hey, I've got my team doing my stuff so I can do the stuff that I love. I think there's just a great opportunity in this business, and it doesn't have to feel like a grind. It doesn't have to feel like work. And yet you may have to work to pay your bills, but there's got to be a way. There's part of that business that you love. And I think we just spent the last hour giving you ideas of how to figure that out. We've got Roland as a resource. You've got Justin to follow. And so I'm super excited to hear what you all do as a result of watching this last 60 minutes that we had together.
But guys, I'm going to give you one last to do. When we do the Modern Mortgage Summit on May 25th of next month, every single loan officer on that stage has found their thing. In fact, I just was on this call and I realized that Justin, I don't think we've invited you to be on the Modern Mortgage Summit yet.
You did. Yeah. I got the email.
Oh, you did get the email. So
yeah, I did. I got to put the content together still.
Okay. So Justin will be one of the speakers, and I don't know what his topic is yet. We need that soon, brother. But guys, this will be an event where every single loan officer has found their thing, and they're creating amazing social media content, and they're helping end financial literacy in America. Many of them are, educating the next generation. So make sure you sign up for that. It's not too late. I think we've sold, Todd, have we sold over 5,000 tickets? I know we've sold over 4.
Yeah, I think we're over 5,000, and our next push is really be thinking about it from the fact that the Modern Real Estate Summit is in the afternoon, right? So we've tried to make it, we're not selling 2 events this year, we're just selling you one, and you have an opportunity to really think about how are you going to best use this to leverage your relationships, because just as you're right now trying to find your thing, so are your real estate agents, right? This market is been really stressful on a lot of them, and it's just a great opportunity. Dave's got it up there. You can buy the 1-day pass. You can buy it for 30-day access or 365 access, and then really think about how you can use this as a tool to get more referral partners. And the top producer pass, 25 passes. Then we've got the influencer pass. We've got lots of branches that are buying these. or regions that are teaming up, or maybe, another loan officer that you can team up with to buy the discounted passes for your real estate agents. And then we'll do lots of calls between now and then on really how to turn that into your unique value proposition to help your real estate partners grow as we go through a interesting 2022.
So and make sure you guys check out Roland's facilitated platform. Make sure you follow the dude on social media. He kills it. He's a great example of someone who's found their thing and then, is creating content and building story around that. So make sure you check it out. We put a link down below. Roland, anything you want to make sure is said before we wrap this up?
I just wanted to do a little plug for the real estate summit. One of my clients did a watch party, and so they brought their whole team, and then they invited referral partners and their teams. And it was this killer watch party. It was just there's so many takeaways. It was to me, I hear a lot of people, they want to know, what do I put together for people? This was a killer event, and they, used it as this mastermind social time. And I think they got a ton of value out of it, and only brought their referral partners and their teams together. So I mean, nothing like a bond like that. So for those of you who consider doing something like that and have the space and a projector to do it, get some popcorn. I mean, it can be a really cool thing that Dave's created.
Yeah. And in our playbook, we'll be releasing more content around how top producers are doing it, but having a watch party and then buying enough tickets that you can give, the people that you think will appreciate it, either the 30-day pass for 100 or the 1-year pass for 150. So that is the varsity move. We'd love to have you join us. Justin, anything you want to say before we close out today's call?
Oh, just if you guys want to see what I'm doing, it's Loans by JB on all the platforms, on Instagram and TikTok or whatever. And you could tell, like, when I'm having fun, sometimes I'm just putting out content, but the best stuff is the stuff that you're just having fun doing or you're passionate about doing. So if you guys are on that journey for social media, if it feels something that you're passionate about or something you're having fun doing, then put it out there, no matter what it is. And I posted something last night. It's got like almost 90,000 views already on TikTok. So much hate, like so many people just talking crap. And you know what I think nowadays? Like, thank you. You're helping push it. Like, all that just helps actually push it. Because on top of the 100 negative comments, I probably got 1,000 new followers from it. So hey, thank you guys. Like, so don't worry, just go for it.
All right, guys. So this is a wrap. Hope you got value from today's call. Give it a like if you liked it. Share it with your friends, and make sure you're following us on the Mortgage Coach YouTube channel. Take care, everybody. Appreciate it.
Y'all.
Take care.